Okay, welcome everyone to 12 Years. We're going to do a little solo playthrough here. 12 Years is a solo role-playing game, solo primarily with some cooperative and competitive multiplayer, but primarily a solo. By Max Moon Games. Does all of the printing as well. He's a local here in the Twin Cities. But yeah, beautiful work. Love everything about this. Had it forever, and haven't played it yet. I've read through this, but yeah, I haven't played it, and I'll tell you why. This right here. This. Hex crawling. There was a disconnect in my brain for the longest time. I didn't understand it. I had no clue. I didn't understand how things were supposed to get generated, how you picked a direction. I didn't understand that it was just, you're just exploring. That's all there is to it. You just set out. In this particular game, you have a goal. But yeah, you set out, things get generated as you approach them, or as you arrive inside of the hexes, and that's it. Super easy. So we'll do a short, brief introduction to the game, and then we'll get into character creation. So, written by Max Moon, illustrations by Andy Weber, Max Moon, layout by Slot Motion and Max Moon. This is the 2023 Demonic Edition, limited to 100 copies. Ooh. But here we've got a poem to kind of start things off. 12 years ago today, the wild prophet returned from Fae, madness about their addled minds, starkly waving antler tines. A smile shone of secrets learned and visions of the known world burned. The prophet's ranting hardly heard, you alone did heed their word. The king of old in risen bone rots with hatred on his throne. Bear the skull that bore a crown, a coronation shall lay him down. 12 years from now, if none succeed, the king's dead army on fearsome steed brazenly burns all that lives, and death becomes a welcome gift. Ooh, ominous. So essentially, you've got 12 years to coronate the Lich, who is currently resting on a throne. You have to lay the crown upon the Lich's head and stop the end of the world. So you'll be starting here in a village, where all adventurers start, making your way to the castle, and at some point, hopefully acquiring the crown. You'll encounter wilderness creatures, friends, foes, dungeons. You may get lost in the Fae, where... Actually, this is a great description. You may meet and recruit new friends on your explorations, but beware the Fae and their lore. Many have entered the Fae in the morning and come home later that same day to find their children grown and spouses remarried. They have often found that what seemed like mere minutes had turned out to be 12 years. So they snap out of it and the whole world is fucked. So we're going to get going here. First things first. What you need: 4-sided dice, 6-sided dice, 8-sided, 10-sided, 12-sided. Pencil and paper. Boop, boop, boop. I printed out the campaign journal and did a little preparation. Got the 2 quick play sheets over here. I'll have the book on hand. I've got the hex map, the grid map, and castle notes page for when we arrive at the castle, which this game is apparently quite lethal. So if we don't make it today, we'll make it at some point. Got the cover to the campaign journal. Love it. I've got my party sheets with a couple extra here, along with... Where is it? dead parties, their location, and their loot. So I've got a couple here. That's stapled. I've got the Hexploring notes. So each of these boxes corresponds to a grid on here. You'll make notes, like A3 would be the Sunken Castle of the South. And then for dungeons, I've got delving notes and some grid paper here as well. So front and back, and then 2 individual pages in the back. And I can rip those out if I need. But yeah, I think we're good to go. So let's just get into it, and we'll get some characters created. All right, assembling the party. I'm gonna just set this over here. Finding a party of adventurers willing to risk their lives is not easy. There are no guarantees as to who will join your ranks. The starting hex is a small city from which all adventuring parties assemble. All parties begin with 4 party members at level 0 and must earn their way to advancement. How you advance a level is by either spending 100 gold or 100 gold or 100 gold worth in loot to a friend, an NPC, anywhere that level advancement is available to advance your party 1 level. So, 4d4 to determine starting party members. I hate the d4 with a passion. So I'm going to stash that little bad boy back there, and instead, it said we didn't need a d20, but I like to do a d20, and we'll do, there's 4 options, 20-sided die divided by 5. You've got 4. So 1 through 5 would be a 1, 6 through 10 would be a 2, 11 through 15, 3, 16 through 20 is a 4. So we'll do that. 4d4 to determine starting party members. Okay, of the options here for archetypes, you've got a hermit, a rogue, fey folk, and a giant. So let's roll. Let's try out the d4. It's been a while. They're just, you can't even fucking pick them up. I hate these dice. A 4. So we've got a giant. If I roll a 4 again, we're calling that d4 rigged. So we've got a giant. God damn it. We got a 1. That's a hermit. Okay. Another 4. So another giant. God damn. And a 7, which is a 2. So we got a rogue. Not a bad party by any means. Rogues disable traps. Giants add a damage die to the rolls. Hermits can heal, which is very nice. Let's see here. So, record the characters on the party sheet. Name your characters. Any character without a name dies instantly. Love that rule. Roll for starting weapons, loot, and gold. So I'm going to get this set up. We'll go through and we'll do all their HP. So giants start with 30 HP. Okay. Got that. Hermits start at 8. And rogues start at 12. Okay. We got to go through and do their powers. So for giants, brute force. +1 damage to party rolls. So we'll add that. Brute force. Their weakness is slow. While evading, cannot successfully retrieve loot or achieve any other result requiring a 4 on an evasion roll. An evasion roll 4 has the same effect as a 3, in which the party escapes freely. It's kind of annoying. Alright. they've all got a downside, so we can't bitch about it too much. The Hermit. Healing is the power. And so on the party rolls a successful hit, the Hermit may choose to fully heal the party instead of the party doing any damage to the enemy. So in 12 years, damage is rolled all at once. I like how it's described. The battle is like a flurry of action. Everything happens simultaneously. You roll the dice associated with the weapon being used by each of these characters, but you roll all those dice at once, add them together, and that's your total damage. And then it gets doled out to one enemy first. If that kills that enemy, the excess damage moves on to the next one. Okay. So, Hermit. Weakness is Pacifist, which means up until now, the Hermit has always been a pacifist and never trained in combat, unable to use any armor, shields, or weapons other than a staff. The Hermit begins the game with a mundane staff. Staff. Gotcha. The Rogue. Disable traps, which is huge. I think that can technically prevent us from getting killed by one of the items in character creation. Self-preservation, they avoid combat, letting others take a hit. Reroll once a successful attack targets the rogue. If the reroll targets the rogue again, they will take the damage. So self-preservation. Alright. So now we've got their characters. And we know that the Hermit starts with a staff, so let's move on. Roll for starting weapons and loot. Well, I guess we roll for their gold, too. So we roll a 1d4 for each character, and that'll give us our gold. A 12, that's a 3, so that's 10 gold. Ooh, a 20, that's 20 gold. Because that's a 4. So we've got 10 gold if you roll 3, 20 if you roll a 4, 5 if a 2, 1 if a 1. So we've got 30 gold so far. That's a 2, that's 35 gold. And a 3, that's 36 gold total, which you can record down here. 36 gold. And now roll 1d6 on the following table for each party member. Except for Fey Folk and Hermits. We don't have a Fey Folk, so for the Giants, we rolled a sword, which is 1d8. Okay. You're good, because you start the staff. For our second Giant, a 2 spiked flail. Ooh. Hell yes, that's a 1d10. That is good damage. And for the Rogue, please be something good. A 2, also a spiked flail. Interesting. Very good damage. Possibilities, at least, to start this game. Base damage is listed. Add party level to damage. So yeah, when you level up, you add 1 to HP and 1 to the damage of your weapon. So now each character gets starting loot. So we got to roll a 1d12. There you are. So we'll roll a 1d12 for each character, and the loot is fun because it's like you roll the loot, and then you roll the quality of the loot, which has a couple different options, and then there is like it can be broken, mundane, ancient, ornate, magic, or you can roll a 6, and then you'll roll 2 of these, or you'll roll 2 more d6s. And it can be broken, it could be ancient and ornate, and all of them have effects. If you roll a 6 at any point on your roll twice roll, the item is trapped. And a trapped item does 1d12 of damage upon retrieval, which would murder our rogue and murder our hermit, depending on who gets it. But we have a rogue, which can disable that trap. So that's good. So let's roll a... Oh, and if certain things happen, like for example, I want to say... If I roll a mushroom for my loot, there can be things called unique items, which are certain combinations of effects. So if I roll a if I roll a mushroom and then we get, let's say, mundane, or let's say we get magic, value reduced to 0. But we have a magic mushroom, which means I roll on the magics table, and if I would roll a 7, that is a magic mushroom, or a fey-touched mushroom, and the party is compelled to eat the mushroom and becomes lost in the fey for 1d4 years. So right off the bat, we would be lost for 1 year straight up right at the beginning in the fey realm. So, that's terrible. We do not want to do that. Alright, so let's get rolling on some loot. For our first giant, we've got a 5 wooden shield. Actually, first, we need to do that, and then we need to figure out the wooden shield is nice. It's 5 gold value inherently, and then you get a +1 on your HP as well. But we need to roll for the loot quality. So a 1. It is broken. It's actually technically a 1 gold value now, because broken reduces the value to 1. So we've got a broken wooden shield. 1 gold +1 to HP. So the giant technically has 31 HP now. Doesn't seem like a lot, but it could come in handy. Alright. Loot for the hermit. Are we counting it? See, this could be nice because it is a weapon. So we'll roll on the weapons table, which is a 1d6. And it's a 6, which is a sling, which is worse than our staff. Could be like a magic sling, though. Okay, so we got a sling. Let's roll the loot quality, which is also a d6. A 3, an ancient. Yeah, we'll just sell that shit then. Alright, so we've got an ancient sling. And that will be worth, what, it's double the value. Ooh, 2 gold. And it does 1d4 damage. Alright, for the giant, the second giant, we've got a d12. Come on, give us something cool here. A 1, oh god, a mirror. So anything with an asterisk has the potential to become a unique item. So, we've got the mirror, 5 gold inherently. We will roll on the loot quality table, and if it gets magic, we could get the magic mirror. Do not roll power. The party is immediately... Wait, do not roll power? What does that mean? The party is immediately compelled to enter a one-way portal and becomes lost in the Fae for 1d10 years. Which, if that happened to us, We're lost for 6 years right off the bat. God damn. All right. Let's not roll a 5. We rolled a 1. Also broken. Nice. Broken mirror. Worth 1 gold. Cool. All right, now the rogue. The rogue, you should have some cool shit. You've been out and about stealing stuff, so come on. A 5. Also a wooden shield. I'll take it. That can't become unique. A 1. God damn, man. This party is not having good luck. A broken wooden shield. Worth 1 gold, but plus 1 HP. We'll take it. Especially with someone who only has 12 starting. That is not ideal. But 13 now. Okay. So we have rolled our loot. Roll for starting weapons, loot, and gold. The only thing left is to name our characters. That way they don't die as soon as we set out. Our giant with the sword. We're going to name Gerlog Fist Hammer. Our hermit with a staff and an ancient sling is going to be named Davik. Davik Goliath. Little play on David and Goliath there. Little cheeky reference. Alright, our second giant with the spiked flail and the broken mirror. It's gonna be named Horus. We're gonna say they're brothers. And our rogue, with also a spiked flail, is going to be named what should we? She's going to be a female, so we're going to name her Her name is going to be Fensa. Fensa Thomas. There we go. And the party has been assembled. So now we set off to find a crown and appease the Lich King. Note, party members can die before leaving the city starting point. In this circumstance, you start with fewer party members, but there may be opportunities to recruit new ones. Okay, we have gone over everything. So, where are we at? Oh yeah, so when you get attacked by enemy, well, we'll get into that. When you get attacked by enemies, they target a specific party member determined by a roll. You can either engage in combat, or you can attempt to evade. You've got an evasion table here. Results being 1 through 4. 1, enemy hits, evasion attempt fails. 2, enemy follows the party to the next room and hex. If an enemy follows the party into a new room, roll for any new encounters before engaging in combat. Enemies will not follow the party out of dungeons or into the star hex. Okay. A 3, which is all we can achieve because we have 2 giants. This would be the same if we only had 1. Is that the party evades all enemies and traps, but does not retrieve any loot. Got you. You are likely to assemble many parties of adventurers before completing or failing your quest. While the deeds of adventurers are heroic, heroes die far more often than they don't. In the very likely scenario that the party dies with time left to spare, record the following: location and make a note of which party died here. I number mine. Total years passed, adding 1 year each time a full party dies. Any remaining enemies, gold, or loot left behind. Cool. The only thing I'm curious about is what happens... Combat makes sense. What happens when you defeat an enemy? You don't get loot for just defeating an enemy, I'm pretty sure, right? Party evades all enemies and traps, but does not retrieve any loot. That'll be something I'll need to figure out. And then you start with the Hexploration. So we will do the first hex. We'll head out. We're in our starting city. We've got Gerlog Fisthammer, David Goliath, Horus Fisthammer, and Fensa Thomas. Our giant hermit, giant rogue. And we're going to head out into the first hex. So this is the part that like always confused me. It's like, where do you start, you know? It's simple. I'm starting right here. So we're going to go to J3. Hexploration. Hexploring refers to the party's overland travel and wanderings. In some cases, it may be quite direct, making haste toward a clear objective. Other times, the party may meander, scouring the lands for signs of a dungeon entrance. While hexploring, the party is sure to meet all sorts of strange creatures and travelers. Exploring is where the Fey folk find themselves most useful, as the ancient lore they bring with them often serves as a warning to avoid becoming lost and entranced in the Fey. So when hexploring, complete the following steps each time you enter a new hexagon. Alright, we're heading to J3. Step 1. Roll a 1d6 on the hex terrain table, recording the result on your hexploring sheet. We rolled a 3, so we're in a clearing. So that would be J3 right here. So we'll make note that it is a clearing. Gotcha. And then on J3 here, we'll just put, we got some grass. Some flowers. Nice and cute. Awesome. So there's nothing here. That is convenient. And then we've got a little trail here. There we go. All right. So that's the first hex. If relevant, roll on the hexploring encounters, recording any permanent encounters. This is always pass freely without rolling encounters. So there is a thing where when you come back to familiar hexes, let's say I rolled a 4, and let's pretend this was a marsh. So step 2, if relevant, roll on the hexploring encounters, recording any permanent encounters. So I would go over to the hexploring encounters, and I would roll a d12, and that is an 8. So a stone, oh cool. So a stone portal, which is a permanent, so I would have wrote marsh, comma, stone portal, in parentheses, permanent. Draw that on here, And the stone portal teleports up to 6 hex spaces. That is badass. I don't actually want to spoil too much of this because I don't remember these a whole lot, so we'll come back to that. But yeah, and that's it. A clearing. We don't roll. I'll make a note. No future encounters, just so we know. Awesome. And that's Hexploring. It's really, really damn easy. I don't know why I was overthinking it. And then from this hex, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different options. All of them being new hexes. And you just follow that sort of formula. And the world just opens up. So here, we head out from the village. We find ourselves on a dirt trail, kind of winding its way through just a clear space of land. There's wildflowers kind of swaying back and forth in the wind. The sun's warm on our backs. Our packs are heavy, but there's comfort in knowing that we have the supplies we need for whatever might come. And we're going to take advantage of this warmth and just enjoy each other's company on this relatively easy route. And yeah, little flavor there. Just kind of create like, the minute I roll this and it's clearing and it's like, my brain, I'm there. It's like, we're off. This is the start of fucking The Hobbit. You know what I mean? Like, they head out, they get out of the Shire and, they're in it. They're in the wide world. Yeah, it's badass. But I'm going to stop here for the first episode just to keep it a little slower, a little simpler. But we'll be back. Oh, we'll be back. This game is badass. I'm on the hunt for the Hexploring zine. It's got like extra Hexploring options in it. I'm waiting for a reprint, which I think Max said should be relatively on the way. So I can't wait for that. But anyways, thanks for tuning in, and make sure you come back and see what happens to the gang and what happen and where they head next. And just remember, Gerlog Fisthammer, David Goliath, Horus Fisthammer, Fensa Thomas. This is the crew. We're going to keep them alive as long as humanly possible. I'm already attached. I'm attached. I said it. All right, I'm done. I'm done rambling. All right, tune in next time, y'all. Thanks. Bye.